Abu Ghraib.
Imad al-Janabi says there was so much abuse at Abu Ghraib prison, he can't even pick himself out in the endless, humiliating photos.
They took off my clothes. They started taking pictures of me in shameful positions. I was helpless and handcuffed, and they chose the positions they wanted for the pictures.
4 years after the 43-year-old al-Janabi says he was released without charge, he is now living outside of Iraq, but says his prison memories are still vivid, memories of what he describes as torture.
They tried to pull my eyes out. The interrogator's fingers were in my eyes, putting pressure. I screamed and begged them to stop, but they wouldn't let go.
Sexual abuse.
The worst moment was when they took off my clothes, and with their hands, they would pinch me in inappropriate places, in my private parts.
Threatened execution.
They asked me to stand motionless facing the wall and said if I moved, I would be shot.
Now al-Janabi is filing suit against the contractors who worked at Abu Ghraib, not in Iraq, where military contractors are immune from prosecution, but in a Los Angeles federal court. The suit lays out 20 charges, from torture to war crimes to sexual assault and battery. Attorney Susan Burke filed the case on al-Janabi's behalf.
Many of the military participants have been held accountable in court-martials, but the corporate employees who were there side by side, working along with them, torturing these poor people, have gotten off scot-free.
The lawsuit names 2 companies, Khaki International and L3 Communications, who provided interrogators and translators at Abu Ghraib. Additionally, an employee of Khaki International, Steven Stefanovich, is singled out as a defendant, accused of directing some of the torture. A lawyer for Mr. Stefanovich told CNN, quote, he was subjected to numerous government investigations and was not found to have committed any wrongdoing. But it's by no means certain al-Janabi will get a day in court. Unresolved is whether military contractors can be tried in the U.S. for actions committed against Iraqis. Burke isn't worried.
There's a lot of discussion in the media about whether or not the contractors can be held accountable, but they can be. I mean, they can be under American law. So, you know, a lot of that is really, in a sense, a swirling discussion that's generated by the defense contractors who would prefer to make it appear like there's some ambiguity.
And that means the chance for the case to go before a federal jury, which would be a legal first.
In terms of what's gone on in Abu Ghraib and the other prisons in Iraq, no, there has not been any trials with juries.
Al-Janabi's court filings say in September 2003, during a late-night raid at his Mahmoudiya home, he was beaten and then taken by the U.S. military, ending up in Abu Ghraib's hard site. The suit also claims he was at first a so-called ghost detainee, those the U.S. wants no record of having been detained. While CNN cannot independently confirm that al-Janabi was an Abu Ghraib prisoner, the U.S. military has acknowledged so-called ghost detainees were held at the prison.
They did not give me a prisoner ID number for over 20 days.
Contacted by CNN, a Khaki spokesman said, quote, from day one, Khaki has rejected the outrageous allegations of that lawsuit and will continue to do so. Khaki has unequivocally renounced any abuse of detainees in Iraq and has cooperated fully in all government inquiries relating to detainee abuse. The statement went on to say, quote, no Khaki employee or former employee has been charged with any misconduct in connection with Khaki's interrogation work in Iraq. L3 Communications had no comment. Al-Janabi says he will never forget the faces of his torturers.
To Americans, I say you are friendly people. The American people are not responsible for those acts. But those who did harm to us did harm to the American people as well.
And he believes if America hears his story, American courts will give him justice. Anish Rahman, CNN, Istanbul.